Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mario here once again and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Let's Play of Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch, specifically in Luigi's Bloom World. So, last time we have managed to able to do with Luigi's Bloom World in the Lost Kingdom, despite how the fact that how easy that kingdom is, by going through the forms of, well, finding all sorts of balloons or what have you. So today for this episode is the fact that we might as well able to get things moving with the forms of the next kingdom in Luigi's Bloom World, and this time around we are going to be doing with, you know, my favorite kingdom in the whole entire game, which is of course Metro Kingdom. In this case for this matter though, New Donk City specifically. So even then, we can usually do the usual stuff by simply able to hide myself the actual balloon, and then after we're done with that we can we'll do the usual stuff just like before. So even then, as you can see right there, we actually get into the forms of New Donk City, but this time around though, they're in the forms of Luigi's Bloom World mode, and it appears to be it's now in raining, and it's also, in addition it's been raining, it's also in daytime as opposed to in well, let's just say in a stormy night or something. So even then, yeah, that makes a little bit of a difference here as far as I'm aware. But then again, though, not much else to really talk about this at this point. So even then, yeah, let's go and get started right here. So I think we should probably get started with, this particular guy first. And hopefully, though, we can able to actually farm some more coins and get ourselves a nice little boost start by specifically going on to, I have no idea where the actual balloon is, though, because I know for the fact that it's been quite a while, actually, since we managed to able to get back onto New Donk City, or in this case, in this matter, though, Metro Kingdom as such. But, hopefully we'll memorize any sort of, like, layouts and everything like that during the forms of that specific parts again, but, it already depending on the forms of what placements they are in. So even then, I get a strong feeling about the fact that, well, we obviously might as well die right here, so, yeah, that's a pretty bad start. I have to say for this matter though, because, well, not much else to really tell for this point. So, anywho though, a few things I want to explain about this actually, before what I was going to be doing with, specifically in Luigi's Bloom World. And yeah, you know this little starting point right there, always recommend you do this, because otherwise though, you would be able to actually get yourselves a nice little good start by simply able to actually make things a little bit faster start for you. So even then, I just want to classify that in, specifically certain balloons, if you couldn't tell. So even then, again, short, there's nothing in here, but if we go down here, I think this is where the balloon is. So even then, we'll pop that immediately as soon as we're able to actually do this for a second attempt or one another. So, you know, everything else to be expected also. So even then, today's day is the forms of, the 9th of December today, in the forms of 2019, so even then though, something exciting happens during the forms of not only tomorrow, but just recently during the forms of, let's just say 2 days ago, which is roughly the same day as in the forms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's 1-year anniversary of the actual release, which I think that Sonic and Sylvester has not even mentioned about this during the forms of their Let's Play of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe / Mario Kart 8. That apparently though, we finally got ourselves the forms of not only the new trailer, but it's also the actual release date for Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC Remind. So even then, it's about time to able to actually get ourselves the actual release date and a new trailer to begin with. So even then though, the trailer itself looks very promising enough. Obviously, we're able to experience on the actual familiar new story elements to the table, as well as from that. Finally, well, for those of you who have not played the Kingdom Hearts 3 before, this might be your spoiler warning for those who have not even played the game yet, but I will warn you right now until you're able to actually just, well, ignore for the sake of this video. So even then, with that being said though, you remember in the forms of when Kingdom Hearts 3 first came out, is the fact that most of these Final Fantasy characters was been absent. Well, luckily, it's the fact that the Remind DLC actually brings back some of these familiar Final Fantasy characters or what have you, such as like that particular, I would say Leon might actually come back, and I really don't know about Cloud though, because it only just shows off some of these Final Fantasy characters for quite briefly and what have you, because I think it actually heavily borrows some of these elements by the forms of Radiant Garden, or in this case, in this matter though, Kingdom Hearts 2's version of Hollow Bastion and stuff like that. So even then, and yeah, and also in addition with that, I think we actually come across into ourselves even new things, such as the forms of, well, obviously new cutscenes and new story elements, as well as new boss fights in particular though, which I'm excited for it. And also at the same time, new playable character will be added, aside from adding, well, I'm not going to spoil things too much for those who've not played Kingdom Hearts 3, so I'm probably not going to spoil things too much about it. So even then, also there is, I would say let's just get to the actual release date to see what the actual release date for the DLC Remind is about to come. Luckily though, for the PlayStation 4 owners, since we still got ourselves our PS4, the actual release date for it is going to be releasing until, let's just say, next year in 2020, in the forms of January in 23rd. I think this is pretty obvious because of how the fact that the reason why they choose this release date to begin with is because obviously just trying to able to celebrate with, you know, the Kingdom Hearts 3's original release for that specific time. So it's a pretty good choice for able to actually releasing that during the forms of roughly closer to 1 year anniversary of the Kingdom Hearts 3's release. So it's pretty cool stuff. At least specifically in Japan's release though. So, and I think it might actually release that until at some point in January 23rd of 2020, which is a little bit closer to the forms of how it does it on the Kingdom Hearts 3's natural release for Japan anyway. And, unfortunately though, for the Xbox One version, they have to wait until specifically though for 2 months as of now. Specifically when it gets to February in 25th in 2020. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a 1 month gap in between each versions throughout, but I'm really excited for it still. And I don't know what price tag we're actually going to be able to, how much cost does the actual Remind DLC will cost about, but even then we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Until when it gets to a point until specifically later down the road, specifically at the beginning of 2020. So even then, pretty excited though, and I'm really looking forward to able to go back into Kingdom Hearts 3 again, despite the fact that I need to able to do some of those, you know, some missing content, such as, well, crafting the actual ultimate weapon, as well as all sorts of stuff I need to do on my own time, and also, well, I did manage to find every single of those lucky emblems, basically, and also same applies for all the treasures as well, so, at least I still got those anyway, but, as far as minigame side quests and all that stuff, I need to able to do those, and especially noticeable just trying to maximize our level up, specifically level 99 and stuff like that, so should be exciting though, and I think they may also able to actually bring us to ourselves. According to the actual leaks or rumors about this, is that they actually bring into ourselves 2 new difficulties to the table alongside with that. But I don't know if that's going to be true or not, but even then we'll have to wait and see what happens there during the forms at a later time, because even then, I do apologize for the actual commentary. It's going to a little bit more slower in the forms of how it does it in these previous parts of this game so far, just because, well, at the moment right now, is that every time when I was doing commentary and stuff like that, I always attempted able to run out of breath for a moment ago. But nothing major though, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, not much else to really tell. So speaking of which actually, it's the fact that tomorrow, that the new State of Play Direct, which is basically the PlayStation Nintendo Direct version of that specific stuff, actually got itself at the actual date. And I think it will about to be revealing until, oh, really? I was off by 3 meters away from that specific balloon. Oh, I was so close for that time. And I think this, actually, before I get into that, however, though, there's one thing I need to point out right away, is the fact that when this mode was first released, that most people seem to think about the fact that some certain players able to actually hack the game by able to actually clipping through buildings and hide the balloons from there, which, I don't really think that's usually happened most of the time, but back then, during the forms of February 2018 or something like that, they seem to able to have no idea where the balloons are usually hidden, because some other times though, they always showed up for likely visible visual standpoints, whilst most of the time it's always clips through the actual building sometimes, which I think that's the only prime example about this particular kingdom sometimes, because of, you know, back in the day, about the fact that every time whenever they try to hack into something, well, usually most of the time that seems far from the case, regrettably, so... Anyways, let's go ahead and long jump for this point right there and dive straight onto this particular building on over down there. So hopefully we get ourselves even more coins as far as the, you know, everything else for this part. So, yeah, but then again, I do apologize for the actual commentary for this point, folks, because I know for the fact that I'm actually kind of like, well, one out of breath and stuff like that, but that's mainly because of our fact that we need to get ourselves Christmas going, especially notable with the next installment of, well, we're not going to explain things too much specifically when it comes to the forms of the next Christmas video and stuff like that, because obviously throughout the years we always attempt to do the Christmas unboxing videos for each and every single year. Well, there's going to be a minor differences between the forms of how it does it from originally planned, then the forms of how it does it on the different update, but even then we'll point that out whenever we get to, you know, specifically Christmas time or something like that, so... But then again, we're not going to spoil things too much about it, so even then, yeah, what was I going to say before? Oh yeah, recently is the fact that the actual State of Play PlayStation Direct will be releasing until tomorrow in the 10th of December, so it might actually be 2 days before the Game Awards 2019 is actually going to be approaching. So even then, I'm not exactly sure what surprises they're going to be brings us to, specifically for the PlayStation owners. Now, I really don't know if they're actually going to be revealing their first look at the PlayStation 5 until specifically holiday next year, because they did manage to mention about that specific stuff during certain websites and all that stuff, which also same applies for Xbox Scarlet, which I don't know what the actual name of that specific console will be named afterwards, but you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens there until E3 next year in 2020, so even then, possibilities were endless, I'm telling you. There are certain endless amount of possibilities. I mean, usually, speaking of which, because, you know, there's going to be some lot more things to discuss upon in during the forms of the future points and onwards during the time. So even then, yeah, as far as I can say about this point, guys, apart from the fact that, well, I will mention about more details about, specifically State of Play, not in Tuesday though, however, though, because, or tomorrow I should say, because obviously I'm just pretty much going to be busy during the forms of recording sessions on this at the time, for the time being anyway, as well as the forms of other redo Let's Play that we need to do for some time, and also during the forms of the final Let's Play too, so even then. Although, there's one thing I need to keep that in mind though, is the fact that I did manage to try out, for the first time ever, I managed to try out Knuckles Chaotix on during the emulator, and before I play it, it might take a while to get used to with the actual controls and all that stuff, but even then though, I don't know if we can able to do that Let's Play per se, because of how the fact that that particular game does have ourselves the uniquest gameplay elements, specifically the Tiva, which is used to be by the forms of that specific chain with the actual partner system. You know, very similar to how Sonic Advance 3 handles in, especially noticeable with the forms of Sonic Mania Plus recently, with the Encore mode and stuff like that. In fact, I don't know if we can able to do with the actual Let's Play of specifically Knuckles Chaotix, but we'll see what happens there and during the future time comes, but even then though, I was originally trying to able to download the actual emulator for the Sega 32X emulator and stuff like that, but most of the time though, I can't seem to able to actually just try and able to handle with that mode, just because, well, I just couldn't figure out how I was supposed to do, so I can able to do the actual next continuation recording sessions where it comes to specifically future Let's Plays in time, specifically in 2020 and all that stuff. I have no problems recording some of these sessions during the forms of game consoles and all that stuff, but when it comes to like handhelds and everything like that, like mainly the PSP, or the PlayStation Vita, and even the original Nintendo DS, or specifically the DSi XL, and even especially noticeable with the 3DS at the moment, that we just had a little bit of a, some sort of a struggling moment's notice, because, well, obviously because of the fact that it costs so much money to able to actually just to modify the actual capture cards these days, so... But yeah, I might be biased for that stuff, so even then though, let's go ahead and move on to this next balloon here, so but even then though, I can't wait to see what happens in any forms of State of Play PlayStation Direct at some point tomorrow, but then again, I'm probably not going to mention about it tomorrow too much, just because, obviously I will briefly mention more on that until whenever we get to on Wednesday, because that will be my part of the plan, especially noticeable when it gets to on Friday the 13th, oh god, we have ourselves the unlucky 13th day for this week, because as a result of this kind of stuff, some parts might actually become extremely unlucky for that part. And look at that, lucky 7s right there, although no longer lucky 7s, because obviously I've already spent about 50 coins on that specific balloon I need to find right here, so even then, you know, you probably get the idea for that solution right here, so even then though, I'll promise you guys until the next video, specifically on the Snow Kingdom, I might as well able to actually just give myself a little bit of a more of a better voice than the forms of how it does it on this particular video was, especially noticeable how much I sometimes felt a little bit too awkward for my commentary's sake, but hopefully things will change a little bit and during the forms of the next couple of videos worth noting for. So, hopefully we won't able to come across into that issue, I don't think. So, looks like we've almost there to, specifically the maximum amount of coins again. So, but yeah, you probably get the idea. So, yeah, every single taxis for that part right there always attempt to freeze every time whenever we, get onto the actual, select your balloons, kind of selections right here. So, yeah, because, most of the time is the fact that, yeah, certain balloons like this, that, you know, specifically when this thing was first released, as I said before, that the actual some of these balloons might actually sometimes instantly manage to clip right through for the actual parts noting for. So, if that's to be the case, then obviously it will be impossible to do so. So even then, well, at least as far as I'm noticing that anyway, and I get a strong feeling, and I get a horrible feeling I'm probably not going to make it, because I just get a strong feeling that one of those balloons is actually way higher up, so... Although there is a somewhat of a possibility I could able to potentially try to use the zip line to able to actually make things a little bit faster, but unfortunately I didn't make it in time, so even now let's go ahead and deal with this particular balloon right now, so I'm hoping we can able to find that at least, so let's get ourselves a very good start boost. Although you could also use the actual motor scooter, so that way you can able to travel things a little bit faster or two. But either way though, that makes things a little bit of a possibilities and stuff like that, so... But then again though, as far as at this point in time folks, is the fact that I do apologize with the actual commentary skills and all that stuff for the sake of this video at this point, because even then, aside from all the I've already mentioned about two things that has been happening recently, which I'm mostly excited for. Well, to be more specifically, Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC. So even then, I'm really looking forward to replaying that game again, or I can able to catch up on it or something like that, and then, well, chances are we might actually just get ourselves a little bit more possibilities of happening or something like that. So, but yeah, you get the idea for that solution here. So even then, that's, you know, we might as well see what happens, so... Alright, so for some odd reason, it's the fact that I can't seem to able to deal with that specific skills like this, because most of the time, I just keep on getting myself screwed over like some skills like this most of my time, so... And I get a horrible feeling that I'm probably not gonna make it to that specific balloon just, is it down there? Oh wait, it's further away from it though. Yeah, I think it's a little bit further away than, this particular usual spot that I always seem to go after for, but, regardless, we'll go for a different balloon instead. I don't think we can able to get up to, the maximum amount of coins, unfortunately, unless that there is some, kingdoms that allows me to able to add in double the amount of coins you can get up to, which, I'll point it out whenever we, get to that specific kingdom, per se, but, not now, though, because even then, though, we've already just got there to, Metro Kingdom. In fact, we're almost nearly towards the end of Luigi's Blue World, per se, And especially noticeable how the fact that we almost getting close to the forms of finishing the actual Let's Play of Super Mario Odyssey. So even then, we can definitely extremely be sure that we can definitely do the actual Let's Play of, well, Super Mario Sunshine Redo Let's Play next year. Well, unless there was the stupid copper system, which, I'm probably not gonna mention about it again, because even then, we're just playing, good as of now. So even then, I have no idea why I'm truly saying that, right? Because I seem to able to running out of ideas with news and updates again. So even then, it's gonna be a lot of times though. That's very similar to the forms of how it does in 2018. That we didn't say things too much about the actual news and updates or anything like that. But hopefully, we'll mention more details onto this though, specifically on Wednesday and potentially Friday. So even then, because we're not gonna mention about these new stuff too much, and I get a strong feeling that we might actually go ahead and there was a little hidden alcove right there, so we could instantly roll down here, and then we can get our balloon from here. So even then, though, we can able to accept that. And I figure I might as well do one more balloon from now on for the sake of this kingdom, and then after we're done with that, then we can move on to the next kingdom, which, well, I'll point that out whenever we get to tomorrow, though, per se, because I get a strong feeling about the fact that the next kingdom coming up, specifically, the Snow Kingdom, might actually be one of my least favorite, kingdoms to do in Luigi's Blue World, because I say that because, well, we'll point that out whenever we get to it. It's just we're able to get to it during the forms of tomorrow. It's the exact same placement as the forms of how it does it previously, okay. So I guess everything else is a tad bit more easier than I was expected to, because I've looked upon several other videos worth noting for specifically for Metro Kingdom and such, but no idea why I'm trying to say that. So yeah, I figure we'll do one more. I think we'll probably do one more, and then we can able to done with the forms of the Metro Kingdom slash New Donk City until specifically later on, though, that we're actually going to be introduced into this stage again in Junior forms of in 2018. That, you know, with Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for the Nintendo Switch and especially noticeable for the Nintendo 3DS, it actually brings us into the forms of this particular stage again. So even then, but this time, playing as Captain Toad and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty swell if you ask me for this one, right? And I get a feeling that once again I was a little bit too hasty because I went the wrong way. So, whoops. And I don't know if I can able to actually just, well, truth be told for this point, guys, I don't think I could able to continue things on. So even then I'll quit it as it is. So even then, I think that pretty much wraps up for the Metro Kingdom's Luigi's Blue World. So yeah, so I think we actually got about to ourselves into, I think I would say, 5 kingdoms left, specifically when it comes to Luigi's Blue World. And after that's been done, well, we can move on to the last thing for the sake of the forms of the recent updates, specifically the virtual reality thing. So anyways, let's go ahead and purchase some more power moons or what have you, so just in case we can able to continuously add those up during the forms of the actual Odyssey itself. So, there we go then. So that's, you know, 10 of those usual of those power moons we can get. And, before we leave though, let me just go ahead and purchase, the next set of costumes. Well, in this case, only 2 of them per se, because we've already just got ourselves, quite a lot of coins. So even then, let's go for this one, and we'll go and purchase the no, I don't want to change right now. God dang it, man. Then again, I keep on pressing the A button multiple times, so I could able to actually make the actual text boxes a lot faster than attempt to. But oh well, no big dealio, because we've already just gonna able to change into a different costume and during the forms of the next kingdom, which could be something a little bit more special pretty, because even then, we'll point that out whenever we get to the Snow Kingdom, and this might be a perfect fit, specifically when it gets to tomorrow's video specifically. So even then, you know, we'll find out whenever we get to it. So even then, let's place in another 10 power moons right here. And this way, we get ourselves 960 of those power moons right now. So even then, that pretty much double checks it from here. And let's dive right into the forms of the Snow Kingdom. So naturally speaking, yeah, we've already got about 5 more kingdoms to go. until whenever we conclude the actual Luigi's Bloom World mode per se. So even then, pretty excited, and we're almost getting close towards the end, so that should be pretty exciting. So even then though, you probably get the idea for that. So, anywho, I've no idea why I'm just speaking my here we go thing for a little bit further away from the microphone, because, well, I just don't want to get too many emphasis on breathing too much per se, but anyway. So let's go ahead and change into something special here for the sake of this kingdom. Let's make it a little bit more Christmassy into the forms of Santa and stuff like that. So, ho ho ho, Merry Christmas! Well, despite the fact that we've only got ourselves 16 days to go. So anyways, we're going to end things up here. So join me tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Super Mario Odyssey's Luigi's Blue World. Is the fact that we are going to be going through the Snow Kingdom. So see you then. Later, fellas.